Hello, I'm Cheryl Oliver from Authentic Yoga and Authentic Yoga Teacher Training in Scottsdale, Arizona. And today we are going to pronounce and define 108 essential Sanskrit terms every yogi should know. This is not a show where we'll go deep into definition. Rather, the emphasis is on proper Sanskrit pronunciation. So here we go. Seva, selfless service. Veda, the foundational texts of yoga philosophy. Upanishad, similarly, foundational texts of yoga philosophy. Sutra, a particular literary form. We are most familiar with the Yoga Sutra. And we are most familiar with the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. Patanjali is the author of the Yoga Sutra. Vritti. Vritti are the modifications, the movements, the thought waves. And these vritti happen in our chitta, our consciousness. Chitta, consciousness, is not just one thing. Rather, it is a storehouse for three things. Manas, the mind. Buddhi, the discriminative faculty. And ahankara, the ego. All of these three aspects are resident in chitta, our consciousness. Kosha are the sheaths, the layers of a human being. Abhyasa is sustained, steady effort. And vairagya is usually translated as non-attachment. It means to create appropriate relationships with everything that exists in the world. And according to Patanjali, we need both abhyasa and vairagya in order to do yoga. Shraddha, faith. Klesha, the afflictions, the things that cause us to suffer. According to Patanjali, there are 5 klesha. Avidya, ignorance. Asmita, egoism. Raga, the attachment to prior pleasure. Dvesha, the attachment to prior pain. And abhinivesha, the fear of death. These 5 items are the afflictions, the klesha. Ashtanga is the 8-limb practice. The first of the 8 limbs is yama. The word yama literally means restraint. And the 5 restraints, or the 5 social ethics, are ahimsa, nonviolence, satya, truthfulness, asteya, non-stealing, brahmacharya, to conserve one's vital energy, and aparigraha, to not covet, to not be greedy. The second limb of ashtanga are the niyama, restraints that go beyond the yama, personal ethics. The first is shaucha, cleanliness and purity. Santosha, contentment. Tapas, disciplined effort. Svadhyaya, self-study. And Ishvara pranidhana, to surrender to one's conception of a higher power. The third limb of ashtanga is asana. And although we generally understand asana today as postures and poses, I'd like to offer this idea that we can consider asana as having the experience of having a body. When we practice asana, there are 2 aspects that we need in equal measure. The first is sthira, steadiness and strength. And the second is sukha, lightness and ease and joy, literally good space. Limb number 4 in Ashtanga is pranayama, the regulation of the breath or the regulation of the prana. We do puraka, inhale, rechaka, exhale, and kumbhaka when we practice pranayama. Some types of pranayama include nadi shodhana, purification of the nadis, purification of the energy channels, or alternate nostril breathing. Kapalabhati, breath of fire, literally skull shining. Shitali, the cooling breath. And Ujjayi, victorious breath for strong asana. The 5th limb of Ashtanga Yoga is pratyahara, literally the withdrawal of the senses. We can think of pratyahara as developing the ability not to be distracted. We need that ability in order to do limb number 6, dharana, concentration. And then from concentration comes limb number 7, dhyana, meditation. Finally, we reach the 8th of the 8 limbs, samadhi. Usually translated as enlightenment, we can think of it as ultimate happiness, self-actualization, or merging with one's conception of one's higher power. Other words that come to us from the Yoga Sutra include moksha, freedom, liberation. Ananda, bliss. Samsara, we can think of samsara simply as sorrow, but it is also specifically the continuing cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth. Samsara. The opposite of samsara is shanti, when we have peace. Leaving behind the Yoga Sutra, moving to other aspects of yoga, we come across words like chakrani. Chakrani is the way that we pluralize the word chakra in Sanskrit. And the 7 chakrani are Muladhara, root support. That's your first chakra. Second chakra, Svadhisthana, establishing the self. Third chakra, Manipura, filled with jewels. Fourth chakra, heart chakra, Anahata, unstruck. Fifth chakra, throat chakra, Vishuddha, purified. Sixth chakra, Ajna, enhanced knowledge at the third eye. And finally, 7th chakra, crown chakra, Sahasrara, 1,000 petals. As we think about the energetic body, we also think about Kundalini, the upward moving energy represented by a female snake. Kundalini, this female snake energy, moves up the main energy channel of the body, the Sushumna. The Sushumna is ringed or wrapped by 2 other main energy channels, the Ida, the main feminine energy channel, and the Pingala, the main masculine energy channel. As Kundalini moves up the Sushumna, she represents Shakti, power. Indeed, a particular feminine kind of power, resident in all human beings. The Trimurti are the 3 personages, or the 3, as my late husband would say, the 3 main dudes at the top of the yogic food chain. The 3 main dudes personify the energy inherent in the universe. So Brahma is the energy of creation. Vishnu represents the energy of preservation. And Shiva represents the energy of transformation and change. Brahman is the big is. Atman is that little part of the greater universe that is inside each one of us. One might choose to conceptualize this as one's soul. There are 4 paths of yoga. Karma yoga, the yoga of action. Raja yoga, the royal path, the path of meditation. Bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion. And Jnana yoga, the yoga of knowledge. Another branch of yogic philosophy and the foundational philosophy of Ayurveda, the wisdom of life, is known as Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy attempts to explain the nature of reality. In that Sankhya philosophy, we also find the conceptions of Purusha. Similar to Atman, your Purusha is the witnessing consciousness, the part that never changes. Purusha is considered to be separate from Prakriti. And Prakriti is nature, everything that exists in the phenomenal universe that is subject to change. There are 3 guna, 3 qualities of nature. Sattva, the quality of purity. Rajas, the quality of activity. And tamas, the quality of inertia. Dharma is literally that which upholds. So whether we think of our dharma as our purpose in life, or whether we think of it as our duties and our responsibilities, our dharma is that which upholds us. Vinyasa, a popular style of yoga these days, literally means to place in a special order. So if you are a vinyasa teacher, or if you go to a vinyasa class, the sequence of poses will not be random. Everything that you experience will have a meaning, a purpose, and an order. Hatha is the word that we use today as an umbrella term to denote any type of physical practice. But the Sanskrit word hatha literally means force. And originally, the Hatha yogis were attempting to force their way to enlightenment. Tantra means weave. And tantric philosophy, or tantrikas, have a special relationship to yoga philosophy, where much of the original tantric philosophy turned the conventional wisdom of yoga upside down. Mantra is a practice popularized in Tantra yoga. And this is when we repeat phrases or chants designed to protect our mind. Mantra. Ayurveda is the wisdom of life. And in this conception of optimal health, the science of optimal health, we come across the word dosha, meaning constitution. It makes me laugh that this word dosha literally means defect. And so the 3 dosha, the 3 constitutions in Ayurveda are kapha, the combination of earth and water element, pitta, the fire element, and vata, the air element. Kirtana is the Sanskrit way to say the Hindi word kirtan. And kirtan is call and response chanting done in the bhakti tradition. Sadhana is our practice, our daily practice. So whatever it is that you put together as your daily practice, that is your sadhana. Bandha means lock. And we generally consider in the practice of asana that there are 3 main locks. Mula bandha, the engagement and lifting of the pelvic floor. Uddiyana Bandha, the upward flying lock, the core energy. And Jalandhara Bandha, the chin lock, or literally water support. Drishti are the gazing points that we use when we practice asana. And now, a few pose names that are commonly mispronounced. Ekapada Raja Kapotasana, 1 foot king pigeon pose. Utkatasana. Utkata means fierce, and so Utkatasana is fierce pose. It is not, never was, and never will be chair pose. Urdhva Dhanurasana is the correct Sanskrit terminology for a full-on back bend, and it means upward bow. Urdhva Dhanurasana. So we observe that this pose, it's not wheel, because if it was wheel, that would be Chakrasana. And it turns out that there are other poses in other traditions that are called that are indeed wheel pose. So whether it is the backward somersault that takes us from one position to the next in Ashtanga Vinyasa, or whether it's Mandalasana, the posture where one begins in a headstand and then moves their feet around in a circle, those are more accurate representations of Chakrasana than a back bend. Natarajasana, the Lord of the dance, or the king dancer pose. Vasishthasana is the pose named for the sage Vasishta. When we teach in English, it's the pose that we call side plank, even though there is nothing in that word that means side and nothing in that word that means plank. It is simply the name of the sage, Vasishta, together with the word asana. Vasishthasana is side plank. Finally, when we place the palms of our hands, Anjali, when we seal together the palms of our hands, we do Anjali Mudra. And we frequently do Anjali Mudra before we say Namaste.